In the headlines for this hour in VTV News, the 15 tenors of National Assembly convened 6th session. And return journey of a Vietnamese soldier's helmet. In our war news, countries call for a ceasefire in the Middle East.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi. You're watching VTV News. A delegation comprising leader of the party, state, the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee, and deputies of National Assembly visited President Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum on October 23rd. In the solemn atmosphere, the leaders spent 1 minute commemorating and expressing sincere gratitude for the great contributions of the late president to the cause of national liberation, reunification, and nation building and national defense. Right after the visit, the delegates come back to the National Assembly House to join the preparatory meeting of the 6th session of the 15th tenor National Assembly. The 15th tenor of National Assembly began its 6th session in Hanoi on Monday under the chair of National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ. The 6th session of the 15th National Assembly will last 22 days with 2 stages, with the first lasting until November 10th and the second from November 20 to 28th. During the session, the National Assembly is scheduled to consider and vote on 9 draft laws and 1 draft resolution and consider 8 other draft laws. It will also discuss a number of important issues. More to follow.
During the session, the National Assembly will mull over several socio-economic issues, including the implementation results of economic development and state budget plans for 2023, state budget estimation, and central budget allocation plans for 2024. Regarding legislative work, the chairman said that in order to prepare for 17 bills to be considered and commented on at this session, verification and drafting agencies had collected and reviewed deputies' opinions. Seminars, discussions, and surveys had been held to gather viewpoints from experts, managers, and affected subjects. The National Assembly chairman spoke highly of the revised land law project that has been adjusted and supplemented. However, some important issues have not been addressed.
The National Assembly needs to focus on providing in-depth comments on key issues. Regarding bills with 2 options, pros and cons, and impacts of each option must be clearly and comprehensively analyzed in order to choose the optimal option, ensuring the quality, feasibility, and stability of those laws when approved. Regarding the amended housing law and the amended real estate business law, it is crucial to focus on ensuring their feasibility in consistency with the draft amended land law and other related laws and draft laws, aiming to establish a synchronous, unified, coherent, effective, and feasible legal system that meets practical requirements.
In addition to listening to a report on the results of the supervision over the settlement of voters' opinions on the 6th session, and reviewing reports on anti-corruption, crime prevention, law violations, and judgment enforcement work in 2023, for the first time since the beginning of the term, the National Assembly will discuss the results of the citizen reception and the handling of citizens' letters, complaints, and denunciations in 2023. The National Assembly will also hold a vote of confidence for positions elected or approved by it, and conduct midterm review of the implementation of 3 national target programs. Due to a large workload and complicated issues, the National Assembly chairman called for responsibility of the National Assembly, the National Assembly Standing Committee and deputies.
I request the National Assembly deputies to continue to effectively fulfill your role and responsibility as representatives of people, promoting the spirit of democracy in order to promptly make timely decisions on important issues at this session. As such, it will help affirm the determination and make solid preparation for the country to enter 2024, the year of breakthrough, moving towards completing the 5-year plans according to the resolution of the 13th Party Congress.
Prime Minister Phie reported to the National Assembly, peoples and voters nationwide on Monday morning regarding the implementation of the 2023 Socio-Economic Development Plan and the draft plan for socio-economic development in 2024. In his report, the Prime Minister emphasized the impact of complex global developments, including strategic competitions between major countries and conflicts in Ukraine and the Gaza Strip. He also provided directives to ministries, branches, and localities to ensure economic stability and growth.
Amidst global fluctuations caused by regional conflicts, heightened inflation, slow economic growth, Vietnam's economy is not only impacted by external factors, but also by internal ones, such as pandemics and natural disasters. The economy's long-standing limitations and weaknesses are now more evident than ever.
The growing socio-economic recovery is attributed to the close, timely and scientific leadership of the Party Central Committee. It is also due to the effective supervision and coordination of the National Assembly, the National Assembly's Standing Committee, and agencies in the political system. The governments, all ministries, branches and localities have contributed through their drastic, flexible and practical management. The successful achievements of general goals is further supported by the people, business community and international community.
According to the Prime Minister, the results of the past 9 months indicate that the country can strive to achieve even surpass at least 10 out of 15 objectives. The government leader also highlighted certain limitations such as the slow recovery of industrial production and credit growth. Additionally, key solutions for the future were identified.
To ensure the stability and growth of the macroeconomic system, it is crucial to control inflation and promote major economic balances. All ministries, branches and localities should seize emerging opportunities in the domestic market to stimulate production recovery and development, ultimately creating livelihoods for the people. Accelerating public investment disbursements is necessary, along with additional efforts to boost the corporate bond and real estate markets, address business challenges, and effectively allocate resources.
In the 2024 Socio-Economic Development Plan, the government has identified 15 main targets, including GDP growth, the average growth rate of the Consumer Price Index, and social labor productivity. The Prime Minister also presented 10 main tasks and solutions to the National Assembly, focusing on promoting credit growth, reducing administrative procedures, and expediting the implementation of key projects.
The National Assembly discussed the report on inspecting the implementation results of the Socio-Economic Development Plan for 2023 and the anticipated Socio-Economic Development Plan for 2024 on Monday morning. The report was presented by the Economic Committee of the National Assembly. More to follow.
The National Assembly's inspection report highlights positive recovery of Vietnam's economy in 2023, despite global challenges such as the lingering impact of COVID-19 and political tensions. Thanks to the party's leadership and the government's strong direction, as well as the efforts of the political system, 10 out of 15 national targets were exceeded. Macroeconomic stability was maintained, inflation controlled, and the overall economic balance was secured, leading to economic growth, improved social security, and better living standards. Despite these achievements, the report also points out that some key economic drivers are slowing down, facing significant external pressures. 5 out of the 15 targets were not met, and the ability to attract capital fell short of expectations. Issues such as avoiding responsibility among certain officials and civil servants persist. Given the global and domestic challenges, the report recommends a continued focus on maintaining macroeconomic stability, controlling inflation, and promoting economic growth. Looking ahead to the 2024 Socio-Economic Development Plan, it calls for innovative growth models, sustained economic stability, and inflation control. Additionally, the report advises enhancing the effective implementation of laws and resolutions through accountability of leadership positions in the National Assembly.
President of the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee, Do Văn Chien, presented a report on the opinions of constituents and recommendations sent to the 15th National Assembly 6 sessions at its opening sitting held in Hanoi on October 23rd. Voters expressed their delight at the party's comprehensive leadership in socio-economic development, defense, security, external relations, and party and political system building. They also took note of the government's and the Prime Minister's efforts in implementing the party's and the National Assembly conclusions and resolutions, tackling difficulties facing the peoples and businesses, and pressing ahead with the administration reform, digital transformations, and public investment disbursement, among others. Presenting a report on the implementation of the medium-term public investment plan for the 2021-2025 period at the National Assembly 6th session on October 23rd, Minister of Planning and Investment Nguyễn Chí Dũng said that the structure of public investment capital in the last few years has changed in line with Vietnam's economic reforms, boosting the restructuring of industries and regions, as well as balancing socio-economic development and social welfare. About 90% of the total capital that the National Assembly had approved to use in the period has been allocated to ministries, central agencies, and localities. Between 2021 and 2023, the annual public investment plan reaches 59% of the total medium-term public investment plan for the 2021-2025 period. Regarding solutions in the coming time, the minister emphasized the need to mobilize investment resources of the economy with a focus on ensuring state budget resources for planned projects in 2024 and 2025. Coming up next on VTV News, Ho Chi Minh City deploys 5 BOT projects under special mechanisms. And return journey of a Vietnamese soldier's helmet. Welcome back to VTV News. Over 38,700 cubic meters of soil contaminated with dioxins have been treated at A So Airport at A Lưới District, Thừa Thiên Huế Province. The Chemical Corps has provided this information. To prevent the spread of toxins, specialized wells and disinfection systems are utilized. Since 2020, the entire area within the project scope has been treated using isolated burial and biodegradation methods. After completing the treatments, the specialized unit is currently finalizing the land and planting trees according to schedules in order to deliver clean land to the local community. Ho Chi Minh City is urgently implementing 5 Building, Operate, Transfer or BOT projects. These are 5 projects that are considered strategic in connecting the regions. They are also the first 5 projects to be implemented after Resolution 98 was issued, granting special mechanisms for development of Ho Chi Minh City, opening the foundations for the city to deploy other BOT projects.
For years, this area has been connected to the central area only by bridges. Most of them are temporary bridges, making it inconvenient and difficult for travel. While others scheduled to be built in Districts 6 and 8, Ho Chi Minh City, a temporary bridge in Ward 16, District 8, was put into use. The Ben Tien Road Bridge is the most anticipated project to be implemented.
We hope a concrete bridge will be built, so travel is easier. Also, there won't be congestion at peak hours anymore.
In addition, 4 other BOT projects have been approved by the City People's Council, namely National Highway 13, National Highway 1, National Highway 22, and the North-South Axis Road. Total allocated capital is $1.5 billion. The city was unable to expand these gateway routes years ago due to lack of capital. Thanks to the Resolution 98, obstacles have been removed for several traffic projects.
It's important to complete these projects in the 5 years of the resolution and consider project feasibility for capital recovery. We hope this model will be expanded for other projects of the city.
According to the Ho Chi Minh City Department of Transport, 107 planned main roads can be deployed under the new mechanism. However, Resolution 98 has only been in effect for 5 years. Therefore, key and urgent projects are prioritized for implementation. After 5 years, the city will consider and propose appropriate models to unlock resources for other projects.
Aiming to not leave anyone behind and help people in poverty line to have a shelter, since early 2023, the Nghệ An Provincial Party Committee has launched a campaign to build houses for people in difficult circumstances in the period 2023-2025. In addition to contributing capital, the police force has constructed houses in remote and mountainous areas.
Lo Sivon's family had lived in a temporary house made of bamboo for years. Thanks to the police support, they now has a solid house.
Our old house was damp. I didn't feel assured to leave my children at home alone as we live in a high mountainous area. Now, my wife and I are confident to leave them in this new house alone whenever we work far from home.
This is one of more than 2,800 charity houses built by the police force in 6 border districts of Nghệ An province in 2023. Most of the households receiving the support live in mountainous areas, making it difficult to transport construction materials.
In some cases, we have to carry materials using sacks. Local people, border guards and communes unions and organizations also give a helping hand.
We have mobilized people to participate in thousands of construction days. Officials, local people and functional forces have contributed money for this program.
The housing construction campaign has taken place on a large scale, demonstrating the mass mobilization capability of party committees and authorities at all levels. It has brought joy and motivation to people in need.
Previously, we lived in a thatched house. Life was difficult. We're grateful to the authorities' support.
The provincial police's support demonstrates their warm heart and the spirit that wherever there are need and difficulties, the police are there. It has helped to mobilize the power of the entire political system.
After nearly 4 months of implementation, 2,820 houses have been completed ahead of schedule. The program contributes to building great solidarity and tightening the relationship between police and people.
The Vietnamese Culture Week, marking 50 years of Vietnam-France diplomatic ties, has been held in Versailles, France. The event attracted many participants, particularly students.
A series of cultural promotion events were held at the City Hall of Versailles, home to the Palace of Versailles, from 16th to 22nd of October by NGO and France Partenariat Vietnam. The events focused on young audiences, along with those who have been steadfast supporters of the organization for the past 16 years.
We want to introduce Vietnamese culture to students from elementary to high school in Versailles. This holds significant importance and continuity since Versailles has established school partnerships in Vietnam and annually brings students to Vietnam.
The Cultural Week featured a number of diverse activities, including exhibitions of traditional Vietnamese costumes, film screenings, and notably a closing event with the Versailles Conservatory's children's choir singing in Vietnamese.
Culture always has the ability to captivate and unite people. The Vietnamese Cultural Week has left a beautiful impression on all participants.
The helmet with a 5-pointed yellow star on the front, an image associated with Uncle Ho's soldiers on the battlefields, is an indispensable item for every soldier going into battle. There's a Vietnamese martyr's helmet that has been preserved by an American veteran for more than half a century. It has just returned to the martyr's family Sunday morning.
This is the helmet that attached to young soldier Nguyễn Ngọc Thơ. In April 1970, he sacrificed his life at the Bình Định battlefield, and his helmet was brought back to the U.S. by an American soldier and kept for half a century.
It never left the house visit to any place else. So he protected it. He and I connected, and I told him what I do for Vietnam as a volunteer in helping them find the graves, mass graves from the war. So he agreed to send it to me, and he did.
After many months of searching and connecting with American veterans, with clues from the words engraved on the helmet, the working group of Vietnam Martyr Family Support Association brought the last souvenir of Martyr Nguyễn Ngọc Thơ to his family.
We feel like Thơ is still alive along with the helmet, returned to our family. I think that the American soldiers who kept the helmet is very kind. I don't understand under what circumstances he had Thö's helmet, but I sincerely thank him for his effort to get the helmet back.
The tears that they had in their eyes, I could see and feel, and I also had tears in my eyes as I was watching this. Anything like that at all that's original or anything that the soldier wore with their name on it, we want to get it back to Vietnam as soon as possible.
In recent years, many war items and artifacts of martyrs have been returned to their families, and many mass graves have also been found. The special thing is that these activities come from the movement within the community of American veterans.
At first, the American veterans were very cautious, but then when they participated in research, they became supporters who help us mobilize other American veterans to share information. This helps us to bring more martyrs home. It is also motivation for us to be more responsible for fighting martyrs.
The helmet returned today clearly shows the Vietnamese soldier spirit in sentences engraved on the brim. Ho Chi Minh said, "There is nothing more precious than independence and freedom, and loyal to the party, loyal to the people, overcome all difficulties to defeat all enemies." This oath is believed a noble symbol of the indomitable and resilient will of the heroic martyr and the unknown soldier.
Coming up next in our war news, countries call for a ceasefire in Middle East. And EU proposes to impose global tax on billionaires. Conflict continues to escalate by hour in the Gaza Strip, claiming the lives of hundreds each day. International communities continue their call for a ceasefire to prevent more needless death and work toward world peace.
In the last 24 hours, the Israeli military has struck at least 320 locations in Gaza. Palestinian sources report over 266 casualties, primarily in central and northern Gaza. Meanwhile, in a foreign ministers' meeting on Monday, EU nations reiterated their call to halt the violent spread and increase humanitarian aid to Gaza's residents.
We are calling for urgent humanitarian ceasefire, for establishing humanitarian corridors, for humanitarian assistance to civilians. We have to act according to international law, according to humanitarian law.
There will be humanitarian pauses because it is absolutely necessary that there is more humanitarian aid and that people get help, get medicine, get food, get water.
Leaders of the United States, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom issued a joint statement on Sunday, emphasizing the need to prevent conflict escalation in the Middle East and seeking a long-term political and peaceful solution. Special envoy of the Chinese government on the Middle East issue, Zai Jun, urged the United Nations to convene a more influential conference than the recent Cairo Peace Summit to find a solution to the conflict.
Government should collaborate to curb tax evasions by imposing a global minimum tax rate on billionaires, as proposed by the European Union Tax Observatory on Monday. According to a report from the Paris Schools of Economics, tax revenues could reach up to $250 billion annually. This amount is equivalent to just 2% of the combined $13 trillion wealth of 2,700 billionaires worldwide. Currently, the income tax for a billionaire is often much lower than what individuals with regular incomes have to pay. as billionaires can route their access through shell companies to avoid taxes. With increasing wealth gap, there's growing consensus that the wealthiest individuals should contribute more in taxes. New Delhi, the capital of India, has increased parking fees for private vehicles as part of the government's efforts to curb air pollution. City officials hope that this measure will encourage people to use public transportation, including buses running on natural gas and the metro, instead of the private vehicles. The Indian government is also tightening emission standards for vehicles, developing a metro rail system, constructing highways, and promoting the use of electric vehicles. The air quality in the New Delhi capital regions on Sunday was assessed as very poor. Researchers at the China Astronaut Research and Training Center are working on planting fresh vegetable in space to improve meals for astronauts in outer space. They are creating a new generation space plant cultivation device that allows for precise controls of temperatures, humidities, and the necessary nutrients for plant growth. This device resembles a plant pot and can be used to grow lettuce, green onions, or cherry tomatoes. The method doesn't use soil, but instead relies on reusable compounds, and the plants are nourished by LED light and slow-release chemical fertilizers. Astronauts will water the plants with. The research team hopes that this method will pave the way for large-scale space farming in the future. And now let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's it for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.